now on the CTV News at 5. Lethbridge police charge an Uber driver in the alleged sexual assault of a rideshare client. Plus, a man convicted in the Coutts border protest loses his appeal over a parole decision. And robots are stealing the spotlight at the Consumer Electronics Show.
Telling your stories. CTV News Lethbridge with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. We're glad you could join us. Lethbridge police have charged a 27-year-old man in connection with an incident where a female rideshare client alleges she was sexually assaulted by her Uber ex-driver. On November the 9th, police responded to a report of a sexual assault after a 20-year-old woman went to Chinook Regional Hospital. Police say the victim had arranged a ride home using the UberX app. She was picked up at a Southside business, driven downtown where a brief stop was made, and then taken to a secluded location in the River Valley and allegedly sexually assaulted before being driven home. Police confirmed the man's identity and found the trip to the driver through the River Valley and the victim's home had not been logged in the app. Manveer Singh has been charged and will appear in court later this week. Now, the case involving a Calgary man facing 5 counts of attempted murder was back in a Lethbridge courtroom today. 47-year-old Christopher Haig is charged in an incident from October at the visitlethbridge.com arena parking lot shortly before a hockey game. Haig is accused of hitting 3 pedestrians with a vehicle and narrowly missing 2 others. A 77-year-old woman, a 77-year-old man, and a 46-year-old man sustained serious but non-life-threatening injuries. A psychological assessment of Haig is not yet complete, and the case has been put over until January 26th. Haig remains in custody. One of the men convicted of mischief and firearms violations in connection with the 2022 Coutts border blockade has lost another court battle. The parole board has rejected Anthony Olenik's appeal of being denied full and day parole. Olenik and Chris Carbert were sentenced to 6.5 years for mischief and weapon possession. Olenik was also convicted of possessing a pipe bomb. The jury found them not guilty of conspiring to kill RCMP officers. In his appeal, Olenik said the original parole hearing was sabotaged by RCMP officers called to testify before the board's members who previously were police officers. The appeal board disagreed with his claim. The Lethbridge Police Service saw a drop in the number of people choosing to drink and drive this holiday season. Throughout the Christmas Check Stop campaign, officers arrested 4 impaired drivers. LPS says more than 1,700 vehicles were stopped during the month-long enforcement project. By comparison, 1,200 vehicles were stopped during the 2024 campaign, and police arrested 10 impaired drivers then. Officers also issued 103 violation tickets and 3 criminal charges for failing to stop. Outside of the city, Alberta RCMP issued almost 1,000 tickets and removed 121 impaired drivers between December 24th to the 31st. Heading into January, city police are shining a light on the importance of intersection safety. It is the traffic enforcement program for the month. Last year, Lethbridge's 10 intersections with the highest collision risks recorded 83 crashes. 15 resulted in injuries, 1 in a fatality. Police say while officers along with intersection safety devices are helping reduce that risk, drivers still need to do their part. Police say always look before proceeding through an intersection, leave room between vehicles, and make sure it is safe to turn left before making the turn. Danielle Savoni joins us now, and temperatures, they're a lot higher today, but so is that wind, Danielle.
Yes, it comes at a price to get these warmer temperatures, as we know, for this time of year. So we do have wind warnings in place. We'll talk about that in just a second. To look at maximum wind gusts so far, 94 in Pincher Creek. We talked about it getting to that 90 mark for today. And just in those mid-50s so far for Lethbridge, mid-40s for Medicine Hat. This likely will increase on and off throughout the evening hours, but where we're looking at the strongest winds, of course, is the southwest corner. No surprise, we have the wind warning in place where 100-kilometer-per-hour gusts are possible for the next few hours and then calming down at least a little bit for tonight. So what did it do to temperatures? Well, it's still not that warm in Pincher Creek, sitting at -1, but that's still mild for this time of year. 4 in Lethbridge, 2 in Medicine Hat. More details coming up, Jackie.
Thanks, Danielle. Ontario government employees are expected back in the office 5 days a week now, and a public sector union is already pushing back. A similar back-to-work mandate in Alberta, that's set for next month. John Benavalli Rao has more.
work-life balance.
With a simple message, these Ontario government workers held a lunchtime protest to show just how they feel about the full-time return to the office.
Frustrated because we were doing well working from home.
These workers had been allowed to do their job from home 2 days a week, but among the tens of thousands of Ontario public service workers now required to be in the office 5 days a week.
It is frustrating. It is frustrating, yes.
Some complaining there's not enough office space to accommodate all of the workers being back full-time. But the Premier says it's all being worked on and will get sorted out.
It's great to get everyone back to work like every other normal citizen. You know, you go out there and you show up 5 days a week.
Ontario's civil servants aren't the only group to see an end to most hybrid work. Alberta's public service is returning to full-time in the office in February, as will Rogers Communications, while many of the country's major banks are already back at the office 4 days a week. Employers argue fewer days at home boosts productivity and leads to better collaboration. But critics disagree and say it leads to, among other things, more traffic congestion.
There's a lot of resistance, and what we also see is that some of the best performers are likely to walk out and leave their jobs by being forced back into the office.
Most federal government workers are required to be in the office at least 3 days a week, but Prime Minister Carney has said return to office rules are being looked at, with more details to come. As for commercial real estate firms, they're continuing to see a boost in demand for office space in cities like Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver as more workers return to the office full-time. John Benavali-Rao, CTV News, Mississauga.
The group petitioning for a referendum question on Alberta separation can now start collecting signatures. The Alberta Prosperity Project wants people to vote on the question, do you agree that the province of Alberta should cease to be part of Canada to become an independent state? Alberta's chief electoral officer issued petition signature sheets for the referendum petition on Saturday. The group has until May the 2nd to collect nearly 178,000 signatures. In a statement, the group says it expects the petitions to be ready for distribution sometime this week. Today marks 5 years since the deadly riot on the U.S. Capitol following Donald Trump's loss in the 2020 presidential election to Joe Biden.
It's our capital!
This was the scene when an angry mob stormed the Capitol buildings, forcing their way inside while lawmakers tried to escape. Several people died as a result of the attack. More than 700 people were arrested. Since then, Trump has pardoned nearly everyone who participated in the incident and fired Justice Department officials who prosecuted them. Staying south of the border, tech companies from around the world have descended on Las Vegas to showcase the latest in consumer products, and it appears this will be the year of the robots. ABC's Sophie Flay reports.
The Consumer Electronics Show is kicking off in Las Vegas, and this year it's all about robots. From robots that dance to K-pop songs, to ones that will destroy you at chess.
You mind taking this wet towel from me?
Even ones that will do your laundry, eventually.
He's pretty cool, right?
Boston Dynamics, known for its boundary-pushing robots, now showing off its humanoid Atlas android.
Atlas here has joints that can move 360 degrees. This lets Atlas move even more efficiently than humans, particularly in manufacturing environments where every second counts.
The company says by 2028, a version of the robot will help build cars for Hyundai. But tech giant NVIDIA is more concerned with cars that can think for themselves.
Today we're announcing Alpha Mayo, the world's first thinking, reasoning, autonomous vehicle AI.
The chipmaker, the largest in the world thanks to the AI boom, now announcing its own autonomous vehicle software, setting up a major rivalry with another major tech company.
I think NVIDIA, this was really a shot across the bow, saying when it comes to autonomous, we're going to be a major player along with Tesla. This is trillions of dollars spent. NVIDIA is not going to watch it from the sideline.
That competition possibly bringing us one step closer to the sci-fi future Hollywood has promised for decades.
How did I get in this taxi? The door opened. You got in.
Let's just hope the future is a little less creepy.
The Southern Alberta Home and Garden and Leisure Show will return to the Lethbridge Trade and Convention Centre in March with a new program. During this year's show, Build Lethbridge will be offering complimentary booth space to nonprofit and charitable organizations. Build Lethbridge says the program will give community groups a chance to connect directly with residents, share their work, and showcase their impact. Nonprofit organizations can apply on Build's website. The Southern Alberta Home, Garden and Leisure Show runs from March the 12th to the 14th. All right, on the other side of this break, Danielle is back with the 5-day forecast. Also, if you've ever torn your ACL, you know just how painful it can be. A new free app may be able to prevent those injuries. That story on the way.
Well, what a beautiful Skywatch weather shot. This is from about an hour ago, and things have been changing. Not sure if you feel it in the head, getting a little headache from the wind change and the Chinook conditions, but it's certainly warmed temperatures up. So here's where we are right now. 4 degrees in Lethbridge, -1 in Pincher Creek, +1 in Medicine Hat, and 2 in Milk River, 0 in Brooks. So very mild for this time of year, and if you think that's mild, wait till you see the temperatures forecasted for the weekend. All right, so this comes at, of course, the price, especially in the southwest corner. 94 kilometers per hour, that was the maximum gust so far today in Pincher Creek. And we could get to 100, especially considering these next few hours, and then things will quiet down at least a little bit for the overnight hours. Close to that 70 mark in Lethbridge, and mid-40s at this point is the maximum wind gust in Medicine Hat. And of course, there's no surprise why we have the wind warning in place. Fort Macleod up to Nanton, Pincher Creek, Crow's Nest Pass. Again, this is in place for this evening, and we'll likely have it drop off tonight because the 100 kilometer per hour gusts are possible until about 10 o'clock tonight, and then things will quiet down significantly. So this is a look at the gusts forecasted for tomorrow. If you're not seeing anything in these spots, that's because we'll be under 30 kilometers per hour. 70 though will be the max gust around the Lethbridge area, and Pincher Creek's still windy, but not as windy, especially in the Pincher Creek area, as what we had today. Similar wind gusts for Lethbridge for tomorrow. All right, so we have the system that's approaching from the west. Some of it will make its way through the mountains and even pour into Crow's Nest Pass, Pincher Creek area. We may even pick up a couple centimeters from that over these next 12 hours. And then that should die out later in the day tomorrow and become more isolated and on and off. But we are looking at flurries right along the mountains. Outside of that, it's quiet and just a little breezy in through the Lethbridge area. Another key thing is later in the day tomorrow, so by about 1 in the afternoon, we'll have this weak cold front push through. It will likely spark up a few flurries closer to the Medicine Hat area. It will also switch the wind direction. So key thing for Medicine Hat tomorrow, we're going to see our high around the noon hour, 1 in the afternoon, and then temperatures will drop below freezing quickly after that, so in the late afternoon hours. Outside of that, no huge active weather to talk about. Mixed precipitation in the East Kootenay area tonight and through tomorrow morning with a high of 1 in the afternoon. Crow's Nest Pass, 100 kilometer per hour gust possible until about 10 tonight, then quieting down in 70 kilometer per hour gust for tomorrow, and 2 centimeters certainly likely in the area, especially higher elevations. Medicine Hat, high of 1 for tomorrow, and just that a few flurries again around that noon hour, and then the temperatures will start to drop by 1 in the afternoon in the Medicine Hat area. 3 degrees for our high for Lethbridge, gusts up to 70 kilometers per hour, 3 as well on Friday, but check out your weekend. 8 for Saturday, 10 for Sunday.
A Made in Montreal app can determine your risk of tearing your ACL based on the way you jump. Anastasia Dextrine reports.
The ACL is a ligament in the knee, and when torn or sprained, there can be long-term effects.
If you have that injury, you're out of your sports for a rehab that's a year long.
Dr. Paul Martineau is an orthopedic surgeon and director of sports medicine research. In his 18 years at the McGill University Health Center, he's done more than 2,000 ACL surgeries, and he says injuries often appear starting around age 12.
It's become an epidemic where women are injuring themselves 7 times more than men. And the age of the athletes is getting younger and younger. You can see that at all levels of play.
From school sports to the elite professional level, Martineau says prevention is better than cure. Enter Hurt Blocker. The free app aims to flag the risk of ACL injury early and avoid related setbacks. The app is user-friendly. You start by taking a video of yourself doing this, jumping on each leg. The app uses artificial intelligence to analyze knee movement and stability as you land. It then determines if you might be predisposed to ACL injury.
It will process that data and come out with you jump in a way that's risky for your ACL. And if you need help, or if you're a red light, like we call them in the app, there are exercises you can do that decrease your risk of injury by 50%. It's huge.
The recommended exercises are known as neuromuscular training programs. The combination of moves like jogging and jumps helps to improve agility, strength, and balance. And already, Martineau says the app has reached 4,000 downloads in 2 months.
Well, essentially what we were trying to do is put physiotherapists, a doctor in your pocket so that parents, coaches, athletes could just test themselves at home.
Martineau says 12 universities and several professional teams will soon be using the app, and he hopes to see even more jump on board. Anastasia Dextrine, CTV News.
Still ahead on the CTV News at 5. Garmin Canada is continuing to make an impact in the tech sector while growing in Cochrane. The Lethbridge Hurricanes aren't done making moves ahead of Thursday's trade deadline. The team announcing a deal to bring in some more depth. Now the Canes acquired 2007-born forward Ole Chernier from the Prince Albert Raiders in exchange for a 2026 fourth-round pick. The 18-year-old was a third-round pick by the Raiders in the 2022 draft. In 30 games this season, he's managed 3 goals and 13 points. Now, the Brooks Bandits will be represented behind the bench at the upcoming BCHL All-Star Weekend. Bandits head coach Dakota Mason will serve as an assistant coach in the Canada versus World game. Mason is in his first season as head coach following the departure of longtime head coach Ryan Papiano. So far this season, the Bandits sit second in their division and fourth in the conference. Mason has helped the club operate the most efficient power play in the league. Mason will serve behind the bench for Team Canada. All-Star Weekend is January 16th and 17th in Spruce Grove. Now, in case you missed it, Canada took home bronze after defeating Finland at the World Juniors.
Cage works in, but O'Reilly keeps it across. O'Reilly backhand shot scored!
The Canadian junior team scored early and often on their way to a 6-3 win over Finland yesterday. The win puts Canada back on the podium at the World Juniors for the first time in 3 years. And Sweden has its first World Juniors gold in 14 years. Sweden jumped out to a 3-0 lead before Czechia started making a comeback, but Sweden put the game away with an empty netter, making the final score 4-2. Canadians are being encouraged to share their hockey history alongside stars like Connor McDavid. The Oilers captain kickstarted a donation drive for the Great Canadian Jersey Initiative. Donated hockey sweaters will be used to create new patchwork jerseys that will be worn by Canada's top players. McDavid donated his York Simcoe Express jersey. He says every uniform a hockey player wears has some meaning attached and maybe a little something more.
A lot of sweat, a lot of, hopefully not too much blood in that one, but, we're wearing cages and stuff like that. I'm not sure anyone's bleeding back then, but a lot of blood, a lot of sweat, and just great memories, honestly. I really feel like minor hockey is kind of the grassroots of hockey in this country.
The patchwork jerseys will be designed by former Ontario Hockey League player Cameron Lizotte. Canadians can drop off their old hockey jerseys at any Rogers store until January 15th. Anyone who donates a jersey will be entered for a chance to win a trip to any Canadian NHL team away game during the regular season. Fitness watches, bike computers, GPS devices for boats, even a tracker that monitors a horse's health. These are all products developed in Garmin Canada's headquarters in Cochrane. Tyler Barrow has their success story.
For Garmin Canada, time is precious. But at the Garmin Canada headquarters in Cochrane, Managing Director Jim Rooney watches more than one clock.
Yeah, people look at you strange when you wear 2. They look at you really strange when you wear 4.
He's testing out new features on his fitness watches. His journey began in 1998 with 3 other engineers in a Cochrane garage, developing a device that could clip to a person's shoe and tell them how fast they were running.
We realized, hey, maybe this is something that really could go somewhere, and we ended up starting a company out of it.
His company was called Dynastream Innovations. It was acquired by Garmin Canada in 2006. It now sells smartwatches and GPS products. And its headquarters has expanded well beyond a garage. Garmin Canada is in this downtown Cochrane building. In 2024, it added a 3rd floor as its workforce continues to grow.
Over the last 5 years, we've grown at 18% or more 4 out of 5 years.
And locals have a hand in its success. People in the community are able to test products that the performance team tracks. For athletes, they like the innovation the company brings to market.
Some of the more advanced, almost like Phoenix-like Adventure Watch features on a slightly lighter and sleeker platform has been really handy for maps, for performance.
Fitness wearables have taken off with consumers as the global market is valued at around $60 to $70 billion. A senior analyst for the company says Garmin is a small player in the highly fragmented market, but points to innovations like its Blaze equine wellness system as examples of their ability to continue gaining market share. It helps monitor a horse's health.
I think there'll be somebody out with it at the Stampede.
The product came to market in August. Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Cochrane.
Still ahead on the CTV News at 5, some unexpected New Year's Day babies were a surprise for one Alberta farm. That story coming up. A central Alberta farm was surprised by a rare event on New Year's Day, triplets. One of the cows at Lucky 7 Cattle Company near Ruthven gave birth to 3 little ones, and they all survived. Mom is doing fine, as well as overlooking her accomplishments. The trio of calves are named Marla, Carla, and Darla. The farm says triplets are unusual on dairy farms, and the odds of healthy triplets, that's about 1 in 8 million.
And I just went to put my chains in the office to clean them off, and my dad looked at me and he goes, "You better try again." And I rolled my eyes and I'm like, no. To get them and to get them all alive is like, holy cow, like it's unreal.
And last year, the mother of the cow that gave birth this year, well, she also gave birth to triplets. They were a trio of bull calves named Huey, Dewey, and Louie. An owl that got tangled in a fishing line in BC is now free thanks to some fishermen.
He's stuck. He's got fishing line around him.
Mike Hay and his brother and nephew were fishing in Nanaimo last week when they stumbled upon this owl perched on a branch from a downed tree just off the shoreline. When it didn't fly away, the trio got closer to see it was tangled in fishing line. When they couldn't get a hold of conservation for advice, they came to the rescue, freeing the owl from the line. The bird did not put up a fight and willingly let Hay cut away the line.
He didn't pull back, and he didn't try to fly or anything in the slightest. And then when I started to untangle him, he didn't bite, he didn't resist. There was like absolutely no fear in the slightest. It was honestly as comfortable as you're petting your cat or your dog.
Hayes says the owl stayed on the branch when it was free and most likely flew away when it became dark. Thank you for sharing this time with us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.